Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're deep into your UPSC prep, you already know the union executive is a massive, high-yield area. So today, we're cutting straight through the heavy legal jargon to build a foolproof checklist. We're looking at exactly what it takes to qualify for the absolute highest office in India, the president.
Here's our roadmap for today's session. We're going to cover the nominal head of state, run through the basic eligibility checklist, and then unpack the Lok Sabha connection. After that, we'll decode the notorious Office of Profit, look at key exemptions and proposers, and finally, weigh qualifications against conditions.
All right, starting off with the nominal head of state.
Before we just memorize the rules, we really need to understand the why behind them. The word republic, right there in our Constitution's preamble, mandates that our head of state has to be an elected official. It's the exact opposite of a hereditary monarch. Because the president must be elected by the people, even if it's indirectly in our system, the Constitution lays down these incredibly strict, non-negotiable qualifications. This ensures only eligible candidates make it to the actual ballot.
Okay, moving to the basic eligibility checklist. Now here's a classic trap that question setters absolutely love, comparing India to the United States. Keep this locked in for your prelims. Unlike the US, which strictly requires its president to be a natural-born citizen, the Indian Constitution absolutely does not care whether you're a natural-born citizen or a naturalized one. Truly, it makes no distinction. As long as you are a citizen of India when you contest, you've cleared hurdle number 1. Next up is the magic number 35. A candidate must have completed 35 years of age. This effectively sets the presidential age floor way higher than other offices. For instance, to sit in a Lok Sabha, you only need to be 25. So combining those basics gives us a foundational checklist. You gotta be a citizen of India, and you gotta be 35. But it's the third requirement, being qualified for election to the Lok Sabha, that completely trips up so many aspirants. Let's dig into that Lok Sabha connection and see what it actually means. The biggest misconception out there is thinking a presidential candidate has to actually be a sitting member of parliament. Well, they don't. You simply need to possess the qualifications to become one. And really, that boils down to 2 major steps: subscribing to a specific oath and being an eligible elector with a valid voter ID. Let's talk about that oath. You can't just swear it in front of anybody. The Election Commission of India designates a highly specific authority for this, usually the Secretary General of the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha. We're talking very senior IAS officers here. You have to file your nomination and take your oath right in front of them, officially swearing that your information is completely true. And regarding that voter ID requirement, just remember the number 543. There are 543 Lok Sabha constituencies, and your voter ID can be from literally any single one of them. You could live in Kerala, vote in Delhi, and run for president. It's a true pan-India footprint. Basically, as long as you're an eligible elector somewhere in India, you are good to go. Now, let's define the Office of Profit.
Grasping this concept is absolutely vital for your polity prep. It is a massive trapdoor in exams. Here's a major trick question to watch out for. The Constitution itself never actually defines the term Office of Profit. It just says you can't hold one. So we rely entirely on Supreme Court interpretations. The core definition the courts use is holding any office under the central, state, or local government where a salary or profit is receivable.
To really cement this in your memory, think about the famous 2006 Jaya Bachchan case. She was an MP who was appointed chairperson of the UP Film Development Corporation. Now, she famously refused to take the salary, thinking that meant it wasn't an office of profit. Well, the Supreme Court completely disagreed. Listen, it does not matter if you refuse the salary or never deposit the check. If the profit is receivable by the person holding the office, it is an office of profit, and boom, you're disqualified.
All right, moving on to key exemptions and proposers.
Now, the Constitution isn't entirely rigid. There are some very logical exemptions built in. Certain office holders don't have to resign from their posts to contest the election. A sitting president, a sitting vice president, ministers at both the union and state levels, and state governors are all explicitly exempted. For the specific purpose of the presidential election, these roles are not considered an office of profit.
But clearing those constitutional hurdles still isn't enough. You also have to satisfy the Presidential Elections Act. Your candidacy must be backed by 50 proposers and 50 seconders. And here's the catch. These can't just be your friends and family.
These 100 individuals have to be actual members of the Electoral College. We're talking the very MPs and MLAs who are eligible to vote. Honestly, getting 100 politicians to agree on a nomination is the ultimate test to weed out non-serious candidates.
Finally, let's look at qualifications versus conditions.
We've completely navigated the ultimate presidential checklist. But before we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final conceptual test to really push your prep. Ask yourself this: are qualifications and conditions just two different words for the exact same thing? Think deeply about this before our next explainer, because confusing a qualification, which is what you need before you run, with a condition, which applies after you take office, is exactly the kind of nuanced trap UPSC examiners will set to catch you off guard. So do you know the difference? Keep studying, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.